Okay, so let's go into time. Okay, I think I might be getting my words wrong. Also, I'm gonna say, after I made a podcast yesterday, two videos popped up. One was time, but basically the guy who, after I was done doing that episode of time, the guy, some scientist, I think he's a scientist. I don't know what you would call him, astrologist. Either way, he was talking about time, and pretty much everything he said was pretty much the same thing, which is pretty much said the same thing I was saying. I didn't watch the whole thing because I want to see it at some point. But the thing I say is unique, or whatever the case may be, because at the end of the day, the thought has come up somewhere. What is his name? And why is he not coming up? Huh. Brian Greene, physicist. Yeah, basically the same thought, but not exactly like my thought, but like kind of like the same. Whatever. Anyway, there's no fucking original idea in it. I don't know why I get annoyed by that, but it's the reality. Okay, I'm listening to Alex O'Connor, and he's talking with this guy who's about Stoicism, yeah, and his name is who's this guy's name? No, it's not his name. What the fuck is this guy's name? No way he didn't get the dude's name. John Sellers is a reader in philosophy at. Okay, yeah. So John Sellers, he's talking about Stoicism and stuff like that, right? I'm listening, but also doing some other shit around. I don't know what I was doing, but I was doing shit. I was just going to go through the week up, and so I'm listening to this guy. He's talking about Stoicism, and I was cleaning around my house, my vehicle, right? I walk out because right now, like my body's not like agreeing with me, and so there's this thing I'm getting, and it's like not like affecting me, like oh my god, I'm like I'm dying, but like it's like affecting me. It's like I'm not sick, but it's like it's bad. It's not good. No, it's not bad, but it's like Rico, right? But the whole point is, okay, so I'm feeling it, and I'm like I don't like this, this feeling that my body's feeling and stuff like that. I got my hamper of clothes to take outside and put it in my washer and dryer. As soon as I step outside, my whole body feels relief. So whatever, that thing that's going on within my body that's been bothering me the whole day and week off, I'll say when I stepped outside and felt the outside, my whole body just felt a relief. Where I'm like, okay, I'm going to, as soon as I, do certain things, I'm going to sit out here and I'm going to roll up my wraps, my wraps. And I'm rolling my reps and I'm listening to this guy. And now I'm feeling better. Now I'm feeling better than I was feeling when I was inside my house, right? I'll tell you right now, it just felt better because of me going outside, feeling the sun hit. Well, the sun wasn't really hit because it's like in the morning, and so well, I think it was like probably 6, 7, 8, maybe somewhere around that time, and I'm just feeling it, feeling the sun hit me. Right, it's probably 5, 6, 7. I don't know, and I'm listening to this guy, and they're talking about Stoicism and what God they believe in, and Stoicism, I guess, believe in Mother Nature as God. Okay, then that's the thought that came to my head. If anything, if there's one thing that can't be. I don't know. No, it's just more or less. I think maybe because this is where I'm I'm trying to have. I'm trying to apply other things to it, and so there's like some negative. So it's always something that will contradict itself, and I'm trying to figure out as I go. But here's the thought. Here's the first thought before I start to break it apart. The first thought is: what if Mother Nature has within its either it be the sun or Mother Nature itself have the chemical that is time. Whatever Mother Nature has, because if it creates the ozone and stuff like that protects us from the sun's radiation. Yeah. So imagine that Earth, not only it creates a magnetic field, but also the Mother Nature creates an ozone and atmosphere. What if within that creation of that, it's also creating time, and time is given to us, and I don't, and you're like. Okay, so I just thought about something right now. So, okay, I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna write it down just in case if I forget it. But time, bugs die in 13 days, but they mature into adulthood. Okay, it's a dot. Okay, so. So that's the right. Mother Nature is giving us time, and we're getting fucked by it, right? And oh yeah, the other thing that I got, cause it's fucking crazy because everything I was mentioning, that Brian Green guy, everything I was mentioning in the other pod, the previous one from this one, the last episode, he's basically saying almost the same thing I'm saying. I think that because he's like talking about how time and the distance from planets and everything. He was saying everything I was fucking saying, and it was like oh okay, see this guy who's a fucking. I'm a dumbass who think of me as a dumbass who knows some shit, right? And if you want to know the actual the science and shit like that, you would actually go to these people who are far more smarter and better explaining. Only difference is maybe you can understand. Maybe stupid is more easier to understand. I want to see the time. It's the universe of Brian Greene, and it says Brian Greene explains time like you never seen it before. I think the first 30 minutes of oh my god, he just explained everything I was saying. But okay, so Mother Nature is giving us time, and whatever it. Because I'm thinking, and I'm now I'm starting to. Okay, I'm gonna play with this dot, and then I'm gonna go after the other dot, maybe. They said one the other dot has to do with constellations, and the other dot has to do with the rotation of 360 days, and the other, and it also it does about the moon and how I think it's the Native Americans or aliens who said the moon. There was a time in our planet's life that didn't have no moon and just had sun, and people were living within that. And then part of it is like the flat theory we call, and it's more or less not necessarily just the idea of flat theory, but just when there explanations to why it might be a flat Earth is because the sun and moon being here at the same time. It has to do with that. But okay. If you're having fun, time goes fast, right? And if you're not, time goes slow. If you treat your body well, you're aging like fine wine. If you don't treat your body well, you're gonna age. If you see like these war, from World War One, World War Two, when they had these kids, I think they were like going through tunnels or some shit like that and playing a part in the war. You could see in their faces when they were young. Well, I think even in the soldiers, you could see their face. Well, even in the back then, where times were a little bit more difficult for younger people, you could see in their faces they've aged a lot quicker than, say, us. They have a more mature face than they should have, and obviously if you go to the fucking presidents and you see how they looked before and how quickly they've aged after the 4 or 8 years, right? So obviously time could be manipulated in that sense, right? And then one of the ideas I was was as I was thinking is bugs, they reach maturity quicker than us. Like 2 months they reach maturity, and they die like within 2 months. The lifespan of some animals is like the lifespan of damn. When you think about that, time doesn't. We call time is like what we see. I'm trying to add time. That's why I'm trying to add the moon, the 365 days, the constellations, and shit like that. Dogs, right? From whatever age, and their lifespan is fucking 13 years old, and I guess I don't know. I'm just throwing arbitrary numbers out just to fucking give you the fucking idea, right? Dog matures from 6 years old. That's probably like midlife or some shit like that, and 13 is like they're on their deathbeds, like they're like 90 or 80 years old, right? Sorry, I'm just thinking if we could manipulate that. Okay. Eating healthy and stuff like that. Eating healthy, treating your body right, extends your life, right? It makes you look younger. You have healthier bones and stuff like that, right? And eating healthy, greens and wildlife and all that bullshit, right? All that nutrients you need to feed you to make you healthy and stuff like that, right? Could expand your life. Like the sun, in my case, I think either way it was. I felt it, and then I felt the relief, right? That means I need probably be more outside and have that hit me more often, and because maybe I'm deprived of some nutrients of that. Okay. So that's what I'm talking about. Dogs, 13 years. That's their lifespan. Us, 120 years. There's a cap on us, and boom. Okay. Because in the recall, right, it said that in the Bible, they said there's people who lived like 1,000 years, right? So obviously, our bodies are capable to live longer than 100 years. If there's someone who could live within 1,000 years, so it's more or less of a why. And I think the whole thing with the capping of the recall, and then okay. Okay, so the logic is we it takes 365 days to fully rotate around the sun, right? The reason why we have also is like the idea of calendars, right? Babylonian. It was used to be 13 months within the year of the of us circling the sun, but they removed the 13 constellation, the 13 month, because they felt 12 was better. But my whole theory is the 13 constellation was just I forgot Euryclus. I think he's the guy with the snake, and I think he's the one who gave Adam and Eve believe told them, hey, eat the apple, boom boom, and they didn't like that because they gave them knowledge. And 13 seems like a negative outlook and stuff like that, like unlucky 13 is missing in some buildings, and it just seems like they're trying to erase that recall. And so that's where my idea comes in with the 13 and the constellation and stuff like that, and the 12 months. And so if you want to believe in astrology, in was it not astrology, but well, I think it is the same thing, but what is that thing called? Fucking astrology. Astrology. What is that fucking thing called? Zodiac. Your zodiac or whatever. I think you have to probably You have to probably buy to the 13 instead of the 12 way to actually make sense. And I don't know if it was Native Americans or if it was aliens, but they said there was a time in the past, in our Earth past, that we only had the sun. So in that recall, right? If you really think about that, that means that that means we didn't have a night. We didn't have a night. And we went the full 365 days. Maybe that's why. We went the full 365 days around the Earth, no, around the sun. When we didn't have no recall, no moon. I guess at some point, cause the sharks cause our brains are constantly active, and there's sharks who swim like endlessly, right? It's a myth that sharks don't sleep. They do rest, but it looks different from humans sleep, with some needing to swim constantly RAM ventilations and other resting motionless using vocal pumping. Often it caves or on the seafloor while maintaining partial awareness with open eyes. Different species have different methods, but all exhibit reduced activity and lower metabolism during these. There's also this thing, it could be like, somebody just going. I think it was some influencer who said that. No, I forgot who, but it was said like that our clock is actually not our how we stay up is not. We don't need 8 hours of sleep. We probably need like 4, and how long we could stay up is probably like 24 or 36 hours or 42 hours before we need to go to sleep. And we don't need that much sleep. We just need like 2 or 8. And maybe that was the case way back then when there was like no moon, and we were just living off the sun, and that was our source of energy that kept us up and alive. Because I fuck, the sun has healing powers. I mean, it sounds fucking crazy, but I'm just saying right now, I'm fucking, whatever the issue that was going on with my body, and as soon as I stepped outside and felt the air of outside, I felt relief. My whole body felt relief. So the sun has energy. The sun has healing powers, and if you're low on vitamin D, that shit will fucking help you out a lot. The sun, because it gives you vitamin D. So it has healing powers and stuff like that. And maybe back then, we didn't have to sleep as often. I think the moon probably is doing that, and the brain is constantly active. Even when we're sleeping, it's constantly active. I'm just gonna ramble a little bit because, as I said, I just watched it and I just got the idea. Talk about how the consciousness just moves with artificial and if you're depending on what if you believe in science, or if you believe in the moon, aliens, or some of the conspiracies about the moon, science it's not really for sure like a legit, like how the sun became our recall, but it says something made contact with the earth and then created the moon within that whole catastrophic event of two planets colliding, and that's how the moon became a thing. And maybe there was, I don't know, I forgot the other one. There's another one. There's another theory about that, but that's the main one. Also, theory is the aliens. I remember the image that's come in my head is South Park, and they have there's a crane dragging a moon to the earth, and no, well, I think it might be the moon, but something to the earth, and we call, right. That's a theory too, that it's conspiracy that aliens built the moon on, because the whole idea of how it's perfectly aligned, like perfectly set for a vehicle to black out the sun, but also vehicle. So, and also if you go to the one where they mentioned, like, this was news, like this was big news, but when they dropped something or whatever they did, they dropped something on the moon, and it sounded like a bell, like, and stuff like that. And so that could give it more credence to the moon being artificial and being a whatever, like a little sphere of metal or shit like that. Huh. So I'm at 25 minutes of my supper right now. Yeah. So there's that. And the whole idea with the whole aliens thing, because I'm trying to piece this together, right? Because the constellations and do we abide by that? Are we abiding by that? And that's how we create it, or is that something we construct because the moon gave us days? The moon gave us days. The moon gave us days. The moon gave us days because the sun never did. The day for the sun. The day for us was when we went the full 365. So is that either that's a day or a year? But the moon gave us days. Maybe it's a construct of the whole thing is the moon. And then they had to create the reason for it, which is the 13 constellations. But so we're gonna play with the idea, right? If the native, I don't know if it was Native Americans or if it was, I think it was the Native Americans. They said that they spoke to the star people and they said that they told them about days without the moon, and it was like forever sunny. The moon gave us days. The moon gave us days. The rotation of our planets gave us time? No, what would that be? Instance? It wouldn't even matter. So that's what I'm thinking. Moon gave us days, then you had to create time within those days. Well, because you already created time within those days. What if because also they talk about philosophy. When I was watching the philosophy thing, they talk about how you live is so important than how you perceive. Like they talked about if you became injured, you lose your leg, and you get two pills. One pill tells you you're gonna beat the pressure button and you're gonna soak in it, and the other pill is gonna say you're gonna look into the best interest. You're gonna like, well, I got lost a leg, but you know what? I'm gonna go about my business and go have a happier mindset about things, right? And so, which one you take? You'll take that one. You take the happier mindset. And the whole idea is, so why do you need a pill to be? At the end of the day, you're gonna have two options, and you're gonna choose that option, or you're gonna choose that option. You're gonna choose the happier option because you can't do nothing about it but accept the fact, right? And my thing is, because it contradicts other things I said, which I'm fine with. I'm not holding to these ideas I have, because at the end of the day, somebody could come up with a better idea, and I'm like, okay, I could work with that or whatever. But because there's so many thoughts right now. What if? Damn. The moon created days. Constellation added, is constellation just a giving thanks like we call? Because moon created days. Moon created days. What about Mother Nature? Then again, can Mother Nature? Because Mother Nature could be because. Sorry. Mother Nature. Because he also said we could be. What if Mother Nature creates time and everything has to abide by Mother Nature's time, whatever that may be? It's within that we call. But the issue with us is we were probably part of Mother Nature, and then aliens came along and tinkered with us, and no longer are we part of Mother Nature. And so we don't really abide by her rules, or we were just genetically created by aliens from top to finish, and they just decided to let us be weak. But then again, if you believe in the alien stuff, aliens are like, nah, this is your home. This is your home ground. So it could be that we could be homegrown, and then aliens came in and tinkered with our bodies, and now we can't recall. But then if that's the case, tinkered with our bodies that gave us unlimited, and then capped us probably recall, which it's got 100 years, because also the theory with the whole fucking, no, not theory, but the scientific thing of well, there's some creatures who live forever with quotation marks. I think a squid. No, like I think a lobster could live forever, but because it outgrows its shell, it essentially dies because of that. I believe because it outgrows its shell. It no longer could expand beyond the vehicle because it would get bigger and bigger, and the shell is just the way it is. It's prefixed to this length and this vehicle, whatever, and. So there's like multiple things that we got. The whole moon thing now is kind of weird, because now you're thinking about if the Native Americans, or I think you would think it was Native Americans, if not the aliens, saying that the Star people told them there was a time when Earth didn't have a moon, and people lived like that. And then you add the moon, and now we have days. And now I'm trying to figure out, is it whatever? It doesn't really matter, because no matter what, we're going to still grow at the same age as we're going to grow? Or is it because we now have days, we are shrinking our time because of the moon? we are shrinking our time because of the moon. What if, because it also goes with the idea of if you have fun, time goes fast. If you're not having fun, or you're doing something small, whatever, time slows down. I'm trying to fucking think. Oh my god, it's like right there. If time, the moon created time, the moon created days. What if days are shortening our time? Not shortening our time, but shortening our lifespan. Because maybe I'm just thinking out loud. Maybe before the moon became a thing, maybe maybe that's how we aged. Or maybe it didn't matter what age, right? Is it just the fact that we rotated one? It took 300. Well, now why is 365 a day a thing other than because of the moon? And I don't know what idea I had with the flat Earth. I know the whole bugs died. The moon was artificial, and that's the cause. Oh yeah, I think that whole idea with the moon would be it's like you can look up in the sky, you can see the moon and the sun, and there's that. I don't know where I was going with that one, but there was a reason for that. But now I'm trying to figure out how that works out, and what Mother Nature, if Mother Nature is what has the chemicals in the recall, right? If what's in Mother Nature that creates time for us, or at least deterioration, not necessarily. Maybe they gave us time, and that's the illusion, is time. But in reality, it's deterioration. It's a disease, the plague that is hindering us, right? It may be the aliens who did that, right? Who said, okay, we're gonna take control of this planet and we're gonna run shit. Oh my god, run shit, and we're gonna treat this as a project by speeding up the process of the human. Well, if we were human back then, whoever it was, because it's so like, because my idea is like artificial AI didn't, we weren't special enough to make AI the first recall, right? I think way back, the beginning of the Big Bang, whoever was first started to have human like legs and arms, they're the ones who started to be smart enough to actually create things. Like they were the ones who created artificial intelligence, and however long that has been, like billions of years before we became us, we call it, boom, we made artificial intelligence. Oh, we're cool because we're the one. No, it's been like that, and I'm like thinking like, oh, we're humans and stuff like that, and it's going to be us. In reality, it's going to be something far different, and whatever that different is, my idea would be mermaids. I think the first living organisms to be a thing here is mermaids, because of I think a million years. I think it took a million years or one. I don't know exactly the Earth's lifespan. It may be 13 million or 13 billion or whatever the case may be. 1 million, it was underwater. There was not a surface until like after 1 million. Then that's when you know uh, crust rose above the sea level, ocean level, and stuff like that. And 1 million, if you want to go to the whole evolution, that should be enough. There should be enough time for things to start baking and creating these new creatures. And I think mermaids were those things. And so whatever came before us, and they were probably chilling life and accepting the sun and stuff like that every day. And did they live? How long did they live? Because they didn't have to live by the moon. That's just a weird concept now, right? That's a weird thing to think about. The moon created days. Because without the moon, you just have a continuous. The only reason why you count a day is because you'll be like, oh, I set up 24 hours and I want to sleep for 2 hours and then I'm up. Now that's a day for me. But the other person only stood up for 18-week call and went to bed for 5 hours and they woke up. Now that's a day. You know what I'm saying? And so days, in that sense, they don't like you. That's where you could like how with the time if you're happy and stuff like that, time goes faster than someone who isn't. So essentially, oh my god, because they use the atomic clock, right? And they figure out when they put something out in outer space, America, or no atomic clock, and they found they did the experiment where they noticed time actually being ahead for one person, behind for whatever, behind or at the same time as somebody. And when you think about that and what I just said, that's so fucking weird, because it just doesn't it doesn't it doesn't it just does. You get the fucking alien when he says, I don't fucking understand that. Because as I said, this is the conspiracy. If you want to believe, fucking this guy was interviewing an alien, but he's trying to talk to the alien. Says, this is how we deal with time. And he's like, what the fuck is that? The alien's like confused to how people deal with time, because he deals with time differently. And you're thinking, as I'm thinking about this, is like time. The moon, essentially, the moon created days. And within those days, this rotation created, the rotation of this created, a set, I guess, the amount within those days. But if you're having fun, you could. Just doesn't make sense that with time. I'm trying to rethink that where I was trying to go with that, but it was like, if you're having fun, time goes fast compared to someone who doesn't. And if you want to measure it, say, well, this moon, something could be up for how many hours within the day and be ahead. And it don't even really have to be ahead, because they could have a slow day and it could drag. But it doesn't matter, other than us rotating around the sun. I'm trying to find it. And because it doesn't matter, because I could be up 10 hours, go to sleep for 2 hours. The person next to me stays up until 18 hours, goes to sleep for 6 hours. That's not a day. Because the way I'm thinking about it is essentially everybody's like, the way it seems like is everybody's in their little worlds. Once you take time out, we're no longer connected to each other. We are manipulating our surroundings. It's like we're manipulating our surroundings that we could too. Because the moon, because we're manipulating our surroundings. We are going against the flow of whatever it is that is on this planet. I had it and I lost it. Time. We added days because of the moon. One solar pass. I've passed. It's like, oh, we. What's that fucking saying? We circled around the sun. Circle around the sun or 22 halo is an optional adage. Or was it adage? It's like another day around the sun. Oh my god, dude. Is that just what it is? It's just another we call around the sun, and where we aren't. Some. Because I'm learning if this applies to us, right? If it applies to us, because we might be altered by aliens, right? And so it's just like more or less applying to the creatures on the planet who aren't altered, who were from Mother Nature, and does that is that is that what? Because what I'm thinking is like a bug dies in 3 days and it matures within that. No, a bug dies in like what, fucking 13, 20, like 2 months or something like that. Some bugs die within 2 months, and they go from the stages of life until they hit that wake call. And then a dog goes for 13. A son goes, no, not the son. A turtle goes for 100. And I'm thinking like maybe because of the time it's creating this boundary. But if it wasn't time that's constricting us, the moon would that person, would that animal, that bug, what would that be to that? Is it as I'm saying, is that the year? Is that fuck? I don't know. I'm because there's a lot of quietness, and I don't think that's good. But also, I'm like, yeah. If you're here with that, and you're starting to see the multiple branches, and I'm like, I'm trying to find which one to grab if I go onto that, and if I go onto that, am I going to lose the other thought, or am I going to repeat myself? Or because there's like so many variables. Like, are we part of that? Is like because there's things that are contradicting yourself. Like, is Mother Nature the thing that has time, or is it time itself by itself separate from Mother Nature? We call, or is it because of the moon that creates time, or is it because it's an illusion that we are creating in our heads? Because yeah, with the whole fucking clock thing, where I could, if I have a fun time, my clock is gonna be more quicker than your clock, and so what does that, does that just right there in itself just prove time in itself is just an illusion? Because right there, what's that? I basically am ahead of you, but we're still existing in the same plane. And that's the other day. I was like, are we just like in these little bubbles? Are we our own little bubbles? And every time we interact with each other, every time our bubbles hit each other, then that's when time and quotations is starting to affect our surroundings and stuff like that. Not necessarily like time as in time as we think of it, but time as in like how we spend how we spend our age. Like, I guess I would use time just because I don't know a better word for it, but time as in is how we once we hit the bubbles, it's just now we're in our own, in the same domain, and then we're I'm gonna pause this real quick because it's 28 minutes. I'm gonna go back. So there's so many, and there's so many going against it and stuff like that. And I'm trying to think, and that's why there's so many. That's why I'm so not fully rambling as I thought would have been. I'm just fucking like all that. Because right now I'm like, there's so many recall. There's so many things I'm trying to what would you say? Trying to the whole thing where I said that you know, that the thing I said with the whole thing about AI, we thinking we made it, but in reality it's not. We got right there, and so where was I going with that? Either way, I think it would be more like dogma. I think the dogma. Like, no, not dogmas. It's more or less of things that we are uh, there's like, the whole alien thing. Yes, oh, the alien, like there's like, oh, the alien says this is only possible. Then there's this different kind of aliens that are interdimensional, so they break all the rules of this alien, and there's another one that breaks all the rules of this alien, and I'm trying to keep that. I'm trying to keep them, but I shouldn't, because it's constricting to me. Just like the scientists who are smart enough to create these new science things, but because the what they believe, like, Einstein's theory of relativity, what's his name, fucking Isaac Newton, and all these other we called before, they're not willing to bypass it because they want to keep these ideas, because these ideas do have some truth to it, but they're not in reality the way it calls it. And that's where I'm having trouble with, because I'm constantly I'm trying to constantly abide by those rules, even though I shouldn't. And I'm thinking right now, with the time thing and the atomic clocks and the people who are having a happier time, and how having a happier time seems to accelerate time, while someone who doesn't, or at least in this other place, is slowing down, and it's stagnant for them, and it's not as quick as that person. So this person's ahead of time instead of this person, but you're still in this existing plane. And could that be because, and not only that, is that actual time, not necessarily time as we know it, but how you couldn't, but because that guy said the same shit I was saying, the instance of existence is that instance of existence is how we are pushing ourselves, creating age, or and the only reason why we have this limitation is because of the moon being created, and then there's other is that for us in particular, because not for us, because probably back then those people who were there, who were living when there was no sun, they were, we call it now, are we just the products of our creators who modify our DNA, and now that we are modified, we are restricted not only by what they placed on us, but even by the moon, and what the sun could provide, which is the nutrients and all that stuff that it gives us when we feel it, and the whole idea, if you go in dark and stuff like that, how we physically will change from that and stuff like that. That we need the vehicle. If we don't get it, then we start to change in the sun. We need the sun. Fuck. Time. The whole thing with the bubble, and we hit it. Because I keep saying time, but it's not time. What is that? It's not time. Is it age? Is it time? Time, I guess that's how we define time, is because it doesn't make sense now. Because the alien said, I don't. The alien said, I don't get. This is not the way how I'm just putting in my own words. When I say some shit, it's in my own words. But basically, it's what they were saying. But it's like, I don't get the fuck how you're able to. I don't get the idea of time, because I live in this like top of each other's shit. I forgot what he said, but he's living in something that doesn't deal with time. So the alien is confused by that, and we had to explain to the alien what the fuck time is for us. And now it makes sense, but it doesn't make sense in the sense that I know what the fuck he's talking about. Now I'm trying to make sense of what he's trying to talk about, because now time doesn't make sense. Now time seems like a fucking... Time seems like a construct of recall, because you see right there, there's proof people time's ahead of them while the other ones is not. But so are you saying this guy is somehow going to the future because he's having more fun? And then that's what I'm trying to think. I'm like, is that if you weren't having fun and then the recall, are you gonna live a longer and happier life? Is essentially that gonna slow your is that gonna slow your aging process? And then, as I said, contradictions. It's like, does that even matter? Is it because, as I mentioned, there's like 1,000 years? There's people who in the Bible say they lived 1,000 years and stuff like that, and you could even go to other religions. There's people who've exceeded past what we're limited to, and so in that sense, it doesn't really matter. More or less of how we age, and how do we age? Is aging more or less of the events in your life? It goes back to the kids. It goes back to the war soldiers, and anybody who is in a highly stressful life. They age quicker than usual because of all the stress we call it. And it's that's not time. That's not time. So we're gonna remove that. That's age. And is that age is 13 years a dog lives, and he ages. It's that age. It's that age because they age quicker. And the only issue is we are limited. We are being imprisoned by the moon. So our aging process is going a lot quicker than usual because we're abiding by time itself, because time is limiting to 24 hours within a day because of what they did. And time is non-existent. The only reason time is existent is because they created days within the week off. But in reality, we age, and if we age, we're gonna age the way we're gonna age it. But it's not like my birthday. My birthday June 7th. I'm not. Doesn't mean because it's June 7th, I'm gonna age. That's 1 year. No, it means that that's the birth of my existence. But I could age a lot quicker within that 1 year because of the stress that's been put on me, or I could have saved myself for a more time to age because of all the happiness I had. So my time just slowed, my happiness slowed down the aging process, whereas the recall is aging me quicker. The stressfulness is aging me quicker, and maybe that's how aging really is a thing. Not necessarily that the lifespan we have, it's probably because of the moon. Not only, but it could be multiple things. Like I said, I'm not beholden to this idea, but it could be multiple things, and it could be Mother Nature. But is it does that apply to us, or the time? Think about that. That's a real thing. That's proven. That's something scientifically proven. If you, because the other thing I had to think with the nature thing, um, the whole alien being of these guys walking out of the spaceship from the aliens, and they all look young, even though they should have been 20, 30 years older than they looked. And then I was thinking about the astronauts who are out in space, and they age a lot slower and stuff like that. And I'm thinking maybe because they're away from the pull of the whole aging and time thing from whole aging and time thing from the environment Mother Nature and the moon creates, that it's still in there where they're still aging, but they're aging very slowly. But if they were completely remove it from, like, say, a year or two, the aging just, all that chemicals that was inside the Mother Nature, or the sun or the moon, that's beaming down to us and seeping into our bodies, is just stops, because you removed yourself from that, we call it, and stuff like that, right? So that's another thought, and it's like, oh my god, it's like fucking like bothering me now. Because everything's like, it constantly like, so yeah, maybe we age, and if we age, it's not us, it's not our birthdays, it's how we conduct ourselves, and our ability to preserve our health. We could be a lot younger in a week of, we obviously do the right things, but also have the mindset to have positives come along, and that will slow down the aging process, and but if you have the stressfulness of the life that we call it, then that's when we call. But then again, it's like, because there's so many variables, like the moon, and as I said, I don't know if it's a construct, because it could be just, it could just be that, it could just be, moon creates days, and it created enough to get to the week off, so that's like, however long it takes to get us to full room, that's how much days it created, with the moon being circling around us, and how that creates a day, so you get 365 days, and that could have been it, just one year with 365 days. But there's like, okay, we're gonna pay tribute to these gods, and decide, boom, 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 boom. This god's gonna have this month. This god's gonna have this month. This god's gonna have this month. We're gonna pay respect to them. Blah blah blah. And that could be a thing. No, but that's like, oh my god. And the whole thing with the whole, like, now I'm thinking like bubbles, right? We're like our little bubbles. The whole atomic clock, that's a real thing, and stuff like that. And if you're happy, you could speed up time, and if you're not, if you're more stagnant, or whatever it may be, the case may be, that might cause that time slowing down. It's whatever the case may be, it's quickening up the aging process. And I'm thinking now, when two people connect, and once you hit the bubble of somebody, It could be just simple. You just hit the bubble and that's it, or you could stay in that bubble where your two bubbles are constantly connecting, and time is moving differently for you guys. But yeah, and I was just like, cause that just doesn't make sense, right? Because he's like, that's what I'm saying. It could be an illusion. It could be manufactured by the moon. It could be an illusion. It could be manufactured by the moon. It could be manufactured by. It could be the solar system, or in reality, our bodies. It goes to evolution, right? I, if monkeys should have, if by all means, if evolution was a thing, monkeys should have already or come close. Like these monkeys are smart, but they are to a point where they're like us, right? And we are compared to them, and some reason we call it one of the theories. If you don't want to be the alien theory or the evolution theory, evolution obviously we as time goes, we finally became what we are today because it's evolving and all that stuff, and just like Pokemon, just think of it as Pokemon. If you don't want to believe that one, that's the scientific. The other one would be the mushrooms playing a part, as in rewiring the brain and stuff like that. I just forgot what I was going to say. I don't know if I keep this because it's like a lot of dead air. But I'm thinking, and I just had a thought and I lost it. Oh, evolution and how at some point monkeys should have been us, but they didn't, and what we call it. But they did is what I was gonna go with that age. Oh, are we just like what I'm saying? Uh, do we even count? Something like that. And now I'm thinking if it was what it was and we were what we were instead of intelligent beings, and if we followed the same line of evolution, how everything is surrounding, no matter what, we're gonna you know there's gonna constantly create apex predators and stuff like that, but never something intelligent. Or it could be, if you want to believe in the mushroom theory, but it's like there's animals out there who eat mushrooms. What's so different about us? And then, so I'm thinking like as I'm looking and like in my mind's eye, I'm seeing just this constant influx of aging, and it's not abiding by time. It's just aging. And it's like seeing like bars going up and down, bars going up and down, but these are fucking creatures going up and down, aging and stuff like that, right? it's like I don't want to lose this thought. Because I want to end it now because I have nothing. But also I'm thinking. Because that's I'm gonna say again, that's crazy. The moon gives us days. The moon gives us days. And you wanna be the alien thing? We never had a moon. Until recently. Not until recently. And I'm trying to think too about the other planets that have moons. And when I go to Mars and then again it's like is having a moon a regulation to having too much of a good thing? Because it's like, oh, this thing tastes good, it tastes sweet, and you can always have it. And if you could always have it, then all of a sudden you'll be a gluttonous, and when gluttonous happens, boom, sinful, right? It's a bad thing to be gluttonous. You could have a moderation of it, it'd be good, but if you have abundance of it, then that's a negative thing, right? And maybe the moon is that regulation to that, but to like, okay, if we continue this, we're gonna create probably monsters or gods. Maybe it creates gods, and you want to stop that, right? If you're a god yourself, because if you have a lot of gods, then that means essentially you're no longer the apex, you're the prey now. Because sometimes you could be the disgrace. They're fucking small. I was gonna say small piece of shit, but I don't want to. I'm just me being fucking stupid. I don't want to, whatever, right? But what if they're like essentially quotations gods, and if we have the abundance of the same thing, guess what? We're going to be overpowering them because we're just 10 times physically better than them, right? Is that why the moon is there to regulate that? And because the reason I'm using gods too is because if you look at it, if essentially you're creating if you're like walking around, while time just ruin you, you're creating your own universe. You have your own time. You have your own. I'm using time because it's only what we have. I'd say age. You're able to. You're not beholden to this we call, and you're able to, because it just seems like you're free now. When you think about it, if you had no time, you're free, essentially free to do as you please, and you don't have to worry about death and stuff like that. Because if you have that, because as much as a whole 20, if you have you're ahead of time if you're having a good time, and you're behind if you're not, and maybe and I don't want to imagine a bubble around you, but you're like creating this like your own world around you. And you're living longer, unless you're doing the right things and stuff like that. And so I think maybe that's why abundance of predators, and that would be a negative thing. Not abundance of what I mean that by is God, abundance of gods. maybe you need to limit that by placing the moon and they're like the one of the theories is the aliens are like you're going to before we meet up with the humans, you have to be intelligent enough to break that and stuff, like you have to be intelligent enough to do certain things and stuff like that before we say what's up. Before we say what's up, and when that happens, I gotta take a piss. The aliens say they're gonna meet us when they're gonna get us when we become smart, and if we become smart enough to do the things they want us to do, essentially we could manipulate anything around us, even time, because we'll be able to see. Because it goes with the AI thing. AI when AI finally becomes smart enough and stuff like that, it's gonna just vanish all these institutions like schooling, medical, it just like all like you like the gas that you use. It's just gonna take everything out from their legs, and as I said, it's gonna give power to the people, and after that, after the cat's out of the bag, guess what? You can't control them, and not only can't control them, they could essentially do as they please. They could. Somebody's sick. Oh, I got cancer. AI, figure this out for me. Give me the cure, and boom, inject it into me. Boom, and it's like, okay, I want to live longer. How can we figure out a way? You went to the philosopher's zone. Boom. It just. Maybe the moon and Mother Nature. Maybe it just. The only reason why I say the moon might be a like a thing that is stopping us from might be because the sun gives you health, and it's so fuck. Also, there's a thing about alien. Like, as I said, it's a conspiracy. If you want to believe it or not, whatever. Alien said they didn't get why we didn't appreciate our sun. It gives us so much, and we don't appreciate it for what it gives us. It's what the alien said, right? What if the moon's the negative side? The moon's giving us negative things, where it may be time and hinder to our ability to grow and stuff like that. Stuff like that. And the reason why I'm using that, so that's one reason is why I'm using the moon being maybe something more of a negative side effect to our uprising. Is also because of one of the fucking guys I watch, Jesse Michaels. I forgot the guy name, but I mentioned before. He talks about how the moon is keeping us as in a prison and stuff like that, and stuff like that, and the alien, some recall saying, yeah, that's the aliens told him that this guy, whoever's, I forgot. I think it was wherever it was. He told him the moon is like really fucking you guys up. It's putting you in a prison, this moon, because the souls are not able to escape and shit like that, and all that bullshit, yada yada, and there's so much into that. So that's why I'm using the moon. Maybe being an issue for us, because it created days. Essentially created days. Because if it is they create days. Is that what happened? They manufacture time by the moon, or is it Mother Nature's manufacturing of the time, and time being a disease, a virus that's slowly eating away at us instead of letting us age as a different way instead of linear as we are right now. Yes. Because they said the moon's so important. We need a moon. But is that a lie? Is that a lie? Let me see. Mercury and Venus are the only planets without moons. Without any moons. So it's a theory about Venus, right? That there are aliens on that planet. And they have the sun. They have the sun. They only have the sun, and they said there's aliens on that planet of Venus. I think they also said there's like it has diamonds as rain or some shit like that. Is that a lie? Is it like flourishing? Is it because I think they said it's heavily clouded? Is that like a little mirage for us so we don't see inside the veil that Venus is flourishing with plants and wildlife and have cities and shit like that? Maybe they are so advanced that anybody that tries, guys, there's a if you want to believe it or not, conspiracy, but there was I forgot where I saw it. It's way back, but they said that you do not go to Venus. They will fuck you up if you go to Venus. They will fuck you up. Don't go to Venus, and it could be that they're like we know what this moon fucking does, and if you touch us with that, we'll fuck you up because we are that intelligent, we are that highly advanced that you come at us in any other way, we fucking you up. So that's what I'm thinking right now. Is it that negative, or is it just like we just is it like yeah, have an abundance. If you have an abundance, shit's gonna get weird. Yes. Is it more or less of the government just saying we're gonna put rules over you because if you don't, then there's a chance that like Texas is trying to what is it? What they're trying to leave the country. I forget what they call it. To create their own, and so they have their own power and stuff like that, and and the government is trying to make sure that doesn't happen. They could do it. No, they could do it, but in reality, would that happen? No. But it's more or less of a. I'm just trying to make a comparison. Maybe that's not a good one. What I'm trying to probably say is just trying to probably keep control so that that they're still the big dogs, and they don't have to worry about us coming along being the apex of the solar system, and now they're like, oh yeah, we can't control you anymore. And the only reason why they don't touch Venus and Mercury, probably Mercury's being too close, or Mercury being too close, and essentially just everything's dead, or same thing applies as Venus, where Venus doesn't have a sun, no, doesn't have a moon, but it's probably so advanced that if they try to come at them if they try to come at them in a weird way, Venus is gonna come at them 10 times harder, and they can't touch them. Okay, like I said, there's a recall where they said, don't go to Venus if you don't want to get your ass. If you don't want to get your ass beat, don't go to Venus. Because they're very hostile. Conspiracy. Yeah, I think yeah, I think that's it. Because there's so many, and I can't grasp it without contradicting myself, but without also going deep into that, without. It's not the problem that's not an issue. It's just more or less of. It becomes so much. Because it kind of goes with the whole bubble thing, but the whole time thing, it's like the time manipulation thing, right? If you're able to, because you're having fun, you're able to go forward ahead of time, basically, and somebody's behind time. So imagine that. So just imagine you're in a bubble. I'm in one bubble, and my bubble was at 2:00 p.m. And because I'm having we call it so much fun, I'm at 2:20, and this person who was at the same time as me but not having as much fun, or whatever the case may be, that's making a recall, is at 2:05. Even though I'm at 2:20, he's at 2:05. Now that's a little extreme. That's an extreme one with time, but it essentially tells you right there, I'm branching out from the time. I'm branching out from time itself, from your timetable, and your time is like right there, and maybe at some point you catch up to me, or maybe not. But then maybe I fall behind, or whatever the case is. But no matter what, it's gonna branch out to a different timeline, because once I connect to someone else, that branch out, it starts to branching out, and I think that's how they could. I think that's the problem. I think that's how the time travelers are able to do it, because they're not beholden to time. So they're maneuvering through the branches, because they're in time, they're in past, present, and future. Because I'm in the future. I'm at 3:00, and this person's at 2:45. Essentially I'm in the future, and this person is in the past, and the time traveler is in the present, and the present is not time. The present is the present. The present is the instant. And that's how they have free will. We don't have free will, because we are dealing with time. we are trapped in time, as they are not. I think. So they're like so I'm at 3 o'clock and this person's at 2:45. Time traveler is in the present, and present isn't time. Present is present instance. So essentially, the present is going future and past. Just because time is a thing here, but they're not beholden to that time. So they could play with time, because unlike me, so 2:45 will essentially catch up to me, right, at 3. .245 will catch up to me at 3. And now I'm trying to think, is this is being present meaning you are my time, you're my present, my vehicle, and if you're not in my presence, are you no longer, are you just not in my bubble? So you're not gonna play you recall, but the other people will, who are, and so I'm trying to think if maybe that's a thing where you're just like oh, you came in the right time, like oh my god, you're like, yeah, I need you. Is it because they finally caught up and because they're back? Is that like them finally catching up to present, or is it just, is it like the scenario already played out, and then you finally come on into 3, and when you finally reach 3, you miss your opportunity, or you miss the recall, right? But and the only reason that's an issue is because we are beholden to time. But if we were not beholden to the time, then we couldn't meet. We wouldn't meet each other at the time. We would meet each other at the instant that we needed to meet each other, which kind of explains the whole flow thing. Because this guy talked about, I watched this comedian, right? He talked about how there's a point where everything starts to go as according to plan. Only experienced that, like, I think once in my lifetime, where everything started to seem like it only happened one time in my life, where I there was a point where I just started realizing, why is everything going as according to plan, and that bothered me. And maybe that's because everybody's on the right time. And maybe that's deja vu. Maybe you fell back. Maybe if you have deja vu, maybe that's a negative thing. Maybe deja vu is you going back in time. No, you falling back in time. And whoever, you probably were ahead, and then somebody came up and finally meet you, and fuck, what is it? And you're ahead, and you for some reason something your times, we're using time. Your time is, we call either slowed down or whatever, but eventually somebody caught up to you at your time, and then like, is that deja vu? Is that deja vu? Is that deja vu? Deja vu. It's like already seen. Is that deja vu? You falling back in time. No, you didn't fall back in time, but you didn't go where you need to be, and somebody finally caught up in time with you, and then, as I said, maybe deja vu is a bad thing. The trigger was like, okay, get the fuck going, because you're falling behind time. Like, okay, so memory glitch. It's a I'm gonna read it. Judgment French is for already seen, is common, fleeting, sensational, familiar with a new situation or place. It occurs, it roughly, often triggered by stress, fatigue, or memory-related brain glitches. Symptoms include intense, brief feelings of reliving a moment, while generally harmless. Frequent, intense, or long-lasting episodes can sometimes indicate temporal lobe epilepsies. Through this is rare. Causes and theories. The brain mistakenly attributes a current experience to a past memory, leading to a false sense of familiarity. Though processing it, momentary delay or mismatch between two neural pathways processing information simultaneously. Attention lasts a brief disruption in attention during the initial coding of a new scene. Temporary minor neurologic dysfunctions such as electric misfiring in the temple can produce this feeling, fatigue, high stress, or travel, which may cause the brain to be more prone to these errors. There was an instance, right? I was working at Wendy's. I remember I opened the cabinet, and when I opened the cabinet, I'm like, I was like, when I opened the cabinet, in some reason in my head, it's like it felt like I experienced this before, even though I think Wendy's was my first fast food job. I worked at Macy's, I worked at Walmart, I worked at Polo Towers and Wendy's, and then that's when I switched to the job I have now. I worked at a hospital too, but yeah, right. And I'm trying to connect it to time, and maybe the negative effects of that, of deja vu. And could it be falling behind? Could it be like your mind's like, you've been here before, and when it says you've been here before, it's because you're probably already ahead in your timeline, but you're falling back, and you're trying to progress forward, but you're not, because you're letting your you're allowing you're not weak, or you're allowing whatever the situation is to not go forward, and I don't know, maybe I'm just fucking way out of it, and because I think time is as I said, you just I could be at 3 and you could be at 2:45. Somebody finally catches up, and maybe that's deja vu. Maybe it's like, hey, you're behind. Somebody's here that you shouldn't be here. You should be somewhere else. Because somebody caught up to you, and you're not moving ahead where you should be. You're stuck at wherever you're at, and you need to go, and that's why you're having deja vu. Because you're stuck. Because somebody finally caught up to you, and then now they're moving ahead, or they're not moving ahead, or the situation is constantly. Because it doesn't have to be a person. It could be a person. It could be a thing. Because they also talk about the philosophy. The thing about Stoic is they also talk about things being a thing and stuff like that, and do they have breath? And yes, they have breath. And what is that breath? Is it my kind of breath, or is it just this breath? And it's like the minors of breaths. This desk has minors of breath, but my breath is far more greater than their breath. And is that what happened? Instead of being in a person hitting my bubble, it's that thing hit my bubble, and it's like you're still where you're not supposed to be, and this is why you're getting this. While generally harmless, frequent, intense, or long-lasting episodes can sometimes indicate in temporal lobe epilepsy. Temporal lobe. I know temporal lobe. That's your front epilepsy. The most common vocal in adults. It's characterized by recurrent seizures or which manages memory and emotion. Could it play into a part of the soul and spirit? Could it be like the reason why you have deja vu so often is because you're not following the path you need to follow, and it's like ding, 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 ding. It's like reminding, okay, here's a wake up. You should. It's a reminder that you've been here before. Okay, now you need to go somewhere else. And that could be the soul, or that could be the spirit. Soul is a real life person, and the spirit is part of simulation. My brain is starting to hurt. Damn. "28 minutes, I'm gonna pause it and maybe come back." So that day is time travelers don't abide by the time that time. As I mentioned, 3 o'clock. I'm at 3 o'clock. Somebody's at 2:45. Time traveler is at instant, not present, not 3 o'clock, not 2:45. It's present, so it could move within that time. So it could move within 3 o'clock and 2:45. Somebody could catch up to 3 o'clock. Me, or I'm already ahead. And the other idea is when 245 final catches up to 3. Is that 245 already catches up to 3, and 3 is already ahead, like 320. So I'm at 322. It was at 3, and is that like a missed opportunity right there? Is that I'm trying to lose it. Is that missed opportunity, or is that catching up, or is that missed opportunity catching up? There's others I just don't fucking know right now. And then okay, so I'm at 321, and finally 3 o'clock catches up to 321 too, and but I'm at 321 for a minute. I should have been already ahead. This person jumped to 321 with me in the span of 21 minutes. They jumped, and that's and what is that when they hit? Is that like does deja vu come into play? Is it you're slowing down and you're stuck on a problem or whatever? Is that just how the cookie crumbles? In other words, it just you're supposed to be at 321 and this person comes at 321, and that just doesn't even apply to a person, but that applies to everything. Like the chair, like the chair you tripped over. Are you the reason why did you trip over that chair? Because instead of being there at 320, where the chair didn't affect you, but not because you came at 321, now the chair affects you. And that's, I think, maybe deja vu is probably a negative thing. Maybe is it, you know what I'm saying, like that soul and spirit thing I'm going about. Is it the soul telling you, hey buddy, get the fuck out of here, you're falling behind, let's get this fucking going? Or is it like or is it the spirit? And the spirit's like, you're not doing the shit that you're designed to do, so hurry the fuck up and get the shit going. And it doesn't matter if 321 the person who was from the beginning 241, while that was 3, it doesn't matter when it passes. When they pass you, I think it's just the same thing as when I passed. I think the only difference is when you guys are moving at the same movement and stuff like that, then that's when it becomes a positive. But the whole time, the time traveler could go within that time. It could be, I hate doing this, but you could look at it as a video game where the people who are at 320 and the other ones at 321, they're at the recall. But the whole idea with the video game, the whole idea with the simulation, the video game is, the whole thing with the video game before it became so advanced and the way it's now. Video games before, you couldn't, once you're looking forward, that's all you see. Behind you was nothing, because they didn't have the manpower or whatever to create the code behind, so that could be existing. So just say like if you ever play a video game, there's games where you're just absent from the area and that area is no longer existing. But now video games have it where it exists as a whole, but before it didn't, and now it's everywhere. Now it's a constant, and I think that's what that's the time travelers. They're always in a constant, even though they're playing with the actual constantness of the universe, of the time itself, was the people who are recall with the time are stuck within that time. and so they can't look back, because as soon as they look back, the the world that we're looking in front of is now gone, and now wherever they were looking, wherever was from the back, is not created for them to see. But uh, now that what they were first looking at is now emptiness. But unlike unlike the time travelers, no, unlike these people who are beholden to time, the time travelers sees it all, and they can manipulate the world around them because its existence, it's present, it's present. There's no time. Holy shit. My head's fucking burning now. I gotta watch that movie. Time. Sorry for this being long. It's just, there's so much to this. But there's things that's going against it. Because if one thing I'm just ignoring is the fact that our bodies are weaker. But then again, you could go, that's our bodies. That doesn't take an effect to our souls, which is probably maneuvering in the instance. The only reason why we're not maneuvering in the instance is because we're trapped in these bodies, and not only are we trapped in these bodies, but we're trapped in this moon, we call it. And if that's the case, even with moon, the moon gives us days, and maybe that's truncating our fucking time on this, our time with our vessels, when it could be limitless. But because I mean, there's so much to it. I'm not even, like, because I could take out one part and play with that part and take out, I don't know. My head's hurting though, and I don't want to burn. I don't want it to burn. Okay, I think that's it. Bye. I also want to bring up, I want to add this, but it was on Lex Freeman. He was dealing with some guy, who's obviously smart. I forgot the seconds. It's milliseconds or whatever, like 5 milliseconds or whatever, or 15 milliseconds or whatever. But we are essentially in the delay. So when you then there's a cool idea I think I have, maybe adrenaline that puts you where you could see it at the present. But we're at a maybe it's 15 milliseconds, 5 milliseconds. But if you put your hand forward, even though you're seeing it and you're hearing, like you're seeing and you're hearing it with your eyes, it already happened within the 15 millisecond or 5 millisecond, whatever the case may be. But it's now that I'm seeing it, but it was already there. And so we are dealing with that too when you recall. But that's it. I'll be quick, because I was thinking about it. What if time is an illusion and aging is a disease? And the reason why we associate the both of those things together is because as we age, it seems like time is going each day. So that's why we associate those things together. But in reality, they're different. Time is an illusion and age is a disease. Example would be uh bad. Oh well, so I would say, oh man. Okay, so I would say that's bad, and you're like, what I'm saying is whatever's happening, that's bad. Like that's a no, that's bad. That's not good. I said, and then there's another meaning. That's bad. Or like, oh damn, that's bad. Or I would just say that's bad, but in a different tone. And it'd be like, oh, that girl over there, she looks, oh, she's bad. Did I say that bad or that's bad? Oh, she over there, she's that's bad. Over there, that chick over there, that's bad. I mean, like she's hot or whatever, or I don't know. So it just gives you different. Even though they're like the same thing, age and time seem like the same thing, but they're different. It means different. But in this sense, that it doesn't mean different. It means time is an illusion, age is a disease. And age could be a lot of things. It could be either a disease. It could be our timetable. That's how, it could be our whatever. But that's one idea that I was thinking. And the other one is we are not on the same timeline. So the Judgment Bureau puts us in the same timeline. At least tries, because in reality it could we are behind where we need to be, and time is creating a misdirection, or time itself we haven't happened to be there. So it could be that we're the whole idea of I'm at 3 o'clock, somebody's at 2:45, and they finally catch up to wake up, but the time is trying to get us in the same timeline as in we call. But it could just be time itself could just be a misdirection. The whole thing could just be an illusion to take us somewhere else, but in reality we need to be over here. And the Judgment Bureau is trying to make sure we get to where we need to be. But it's creating misdirections. It's an illusion, so we're chasing after things. The time could be just a lot of things too. I don't know. It's what I had in mind as I was doing something. Yeah, but yeah, that I think that's it for now.